much this means to them, that someone is listening, that someone knows that they exist, that someone knows or heard their poetry. And in the face of all this, a lot of the times, you can get overwhelmed with it. I can't fathom 500,000 people suffering, and I can't, it's too much, but I can listen if I choose to, and it's very simple. I don't have to give money, I don't have to do certain things, I don't have to feel guilty for the life I lead, but I can listen, and I can read their poems, and I can listen to their songs, and read their words. In all these travels, I've learned that there's three things in the world someone wants. They say, do you hear me? Do you see me? And do you validate me? And so if someone reads this, what I would want them to walk away with is, well, I don't know what to do about that. That sounds really nice, but what's the simplest thing you could do is acknowledge them in some way, whether you say, I heard you, or I'm listening. It's very, very simple actions, and those simple actions can lead to bigger things. Richard Hess saying yes to me and Juliana led to changing 20 lives.
Zulu is an Ethiopian Gambella, so Gambella is the tribe he's from. But he fled his home when he was 14. He has no other family in Dadaab, so he has joined sort of a group of orphaned Ethiopian boys, and there's about 12 of them, and they sort of have formed a family. I know that his parents were killed, and I know that they saw it coming, that there was a massacre in his village, and his father was killed, and then his mother was there, and his mother told him to leave, and since then, the word is that his mother has probably also been killed. What was fascinating about the trip was that within probably an hour, we're talking about how when he was a kid he killed a gazelle with a spear, which is like outrageous to me, and talking about what basketball is, which was my big thing growing up, and then finally talking about family and pretty girls and girls we date, and I think that was earth-shattering to me, and that you can live in your bubble, and I'm born and raised here in Cincinnati, and to realize that although the space between us is huge, you can close that space and you can close that gap just by listening and like being open, and then being honest. I think that was a huge thing of not trying to pretend like my background is any different, not trying to pretend like I'm not a middle class kid in Ohio. I like won the baby lottery.
Shumayo is like my sister now. She's 16 years old, but more mature than any other female I have met. Like, she is my role model, and she's 3 years younger than I am. In order to answer the door, she'd have to put on her clothing, a veil over her head, because she was not allowed to be seen by men without it. This, I think, was the hardest moment for me in this whole trip, and the most realizing, I guess, because she talked about, finally, for the first time, how she lost her dad and 3 of her sisters. She said, we're watching TV. She said, and my father and my siblings were outside. She said, and she goes, all of a sudden we heard, and she didn't know the English word for it, but she used her hands to act out a gun. And but it was making several noises. And I said, shooting? And she said, yeah. She goes, yeah. She goes, shooting. And she goes, and we walked outside. They were all dead. And I was like, oh my God. I said, and then what happened? And she tried to explain it to me what happened, and then just started crying. And she sobbed. And I cried with her. And all I could do was hold her hand.